What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the G Show, where we review the G1 Climax 30 from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, I am Justin, here with Cyrus. What is this, like our sixth episode here?
Seventh. It should be the seventh.
Yeah, seventh episode this year. We are barreling into a conclusion to the G1 this week. Of course, we're coming to you just a couple hours before the finals and the final day of both blocks here. What we're gonna do today is review nights 15 and 16, and then we're going to give our predictions on what's going to happen throughout the finals, and then we're going to come back to you guys on Monday with how we felt about the final 3 days of the G1 Climax. Yeah. Cyrus, are you ready?
Yeah,
for the finals, bro.
I'm ready for the finals, and I'm ready to give out some like trophies. You know, some awards, rafter raising, jersey raising, and shit like that. So
you'd be too quick to put jerseys in the rafters, man.
I would have like the jersey just attached, but not pulled to the top yet. Like it's a Mario Party.
Okay, so just barely, it's half-mast, we'll say.
Yeah, at least for Jay White, it's been raising up and up. But for Naito, it's been like up. All right, let me put it back on. Let's put it up. Nah, let's just take it off the hanger.
Not fully up yet. So we have nights 15 and 16 here. It is very, very contentious. I'm going to go through the final points and everything, just so, and I think that's why I want to kind of just skip right past the final day, because I think that leads us right into the finals. Of course, I think this is the day here, the nights right before the final days, where we can just kind of figure out really where things stand. So at the end of this review of these next two shows, I'm gonna talk all about who can win and who possibly can't. Cyrus, I talked to you about it earlier today. You were like, "Are you sure?" Like, I'm like, "No, this is exactly what happened."
It was just like, if you know me, it's just like, okay, I hear you, but is there any way we can't do that? Like, is there a way to like for that not to happen? Just possibilities.
I feel like they're both blocks this year looking forward have a very interesting outlook on the final days, whereas most other times it's always like led to like, oh, if Okada wins this last match, he gets out, you know? But like this year it's actually kind of interesting, and there's some interesting people that have been knocked out of the tournament. So let's get started with night 15. Now this is a night where literally all it took was like one match for like three people to be eliminated.
Yeah, and that's where like all the numbers talks came out and stuff like that, mainly for B block. But I was just like, all right, I hear you. And statistically, there's nobody else that can like any changes and stuff like that. But I was just like, are you sure? Is there no possible way?
We're absolutely sure here. But on night 15, we had Ospreay versus Jeff Cobb. You know, I thought this was okay. I thought it was an okay match. It was fine. In a lot of in a lot of ways, this was a huge match for Ospreay, because this is he couldn't lose this match unless or else he would not come out on top. So Cobb had a chance to play spoiler here. He's coming off another big win, literally just a couple of nights ago against Ishii. And right down to this match, he comes up big against Ospreay as well. What do you think about this match?
I was very surprised with Jeff Cobb winning. I understand the psychology of it. It's just been a recurring theme for Ospreay for him to do his cruiserweight or junior heavyweight offense, and it's not truly working. And it didn't click for me at first, but when he went for the Oz Cutter, I was just like, oh, how are you going to go for a Stormbreaker? Like, that's not going to work out for you. Jeff Cobb is a big dude. I'm trying to warm up to Jeff Cobb. Like, I don't want to just be like, put him on my shit list or whatever like that. And I would just like it if he just if he was just like, just be a strong man. He's kind of like flashy with it. And I'm just like, there's no true need for that.
Yeah. And this has been my problem with Ospreay here, especially in this match. He's way too cartoony. He tends to switch on the high flyer and heavyweight stuff. way too much. I thought that he had a really good balance with the Suzuki match where he was trying to do the moves, the high flying moves, and Suzuki had a counter for every single one of them. Here, Jeff Cobb just kind of gave into it and was kind of cool with it, and I just feel like it just doesn't work.
He let Ospreay rock with it, and then he did some of his own. And it's just like, I don't need that, honestly. Yeah. And I would think at some point into the tournament that Ospreay would like kind of just smarten up and just ditch a lot of the junior heavyweight offense.
And that's the story here, right? It's like it should be that he cannot do these moves anymore. He's bulked up. He's heavier. I just don't think that, ironically, people are probably going to give me shit for this, but like he should be working a closer style to a Seth Rollins than who he is, like how he's working now. Like Seth, to me, was the closest analogy to a Will Ospreay in terms of explosiveness and athleticism when he was at ROH. Like he was that guy in ROH. When he moved on to WWE, he got into a main event role. He changed his offense a lot.
Well, and then Seth would he used to do like the Phoenix Splash, and now he doesn't do that anymore.
Right.
And I think that's like a really short way to sum it up if people haven't truly been paying attention to Seth Rollins, because he's like public enemy number one because he called somebody broke.
Yeah, I mean, was it false? Hello? But anyway, it just didn't always all the way click for me. But Cobb gave him a hell of a tour of the islands, gets the win. I just thought that, for Will to be truly a heavyweight, he has a lot of work to do. But hey, man, this essentially eliminated Will Ospreay from the tournament there in that match.
Yeah, kind of shocking because we were just like, yeah, he might win. Like for my pick, Shingo was kind of just like over. But it took a long time.
In spoiler mode. Yeah, he's in spoiler mode at this point.
Yeah, so that's cool. Now it's kind of more obvious who is going to win, and now we can.
No, it's not. It's not obvious. Let's go to the second match. No, it's not obvious, Cyrus. I'm going to tell you why. There's a lot of ways this can go. We have Taichi versus Shingo. This was a rematch from last year where Shingo beat Taichi, and now they're trying to. At this point, honestly, I don't know if you watched this match. This match was kind of pointless because they're both out.
I watched the match. I like the match a lot, and it is
Actually, I'm sorry. I skipped the match. I'm sorry.
Oh, you skipped the match?
It was Ibushi and Yujiro. I completely forgot. I was looking at my notes ahead. But I mean, I kind of spoiled it. Ibushi won, which I kind of gave it away a little bit earlier. It was bad.
Like, whatever.
It was bad. I don't think it was bad. I thought it was okay. It was fine.
Ibushi didn't even go into his 8-ball mode where he just said, yeah, fuck it. And just started beating the hell out of Yujiro. He gave him a lot in the match, which is nice of him.
And the story was that Yujiro, he's trying to just win one match, and he's also trying to play spoiler for Ibushi. Doesn't quite work here. Yujiro beats him with a leaping knee, leading to the Kamigoye. And this win pretty much knocked out Will, Taichi, and Shingo in one fell swoop. So Ospreay couldn't win the A block by himself anymore because he couldn't get enough points, and he didn't have the tiebreaker on Ibushi. And you have Taichi and Shingo who are just out on points that will not be able to get the amount of points they need to get to the end. But which leads us to this match. Did you watch it? Were you into it? I know this was like a pointless match after I told you that these guys got knocked out.
No, I watched all the matches all the way through. I think for the finals is where I'm gonna, kind of like start skipping around. Yeah. But good match. I definitely liked the match a lot. I just like that they were like just mimicking each other's moves. Like I thought that was really cool.
Can we preemptively give Taichi most improved? Can we do that?
Definitely, absolutely.
I think we might like it's obviously it's a toss up between him and Yoshihashi. Like I guess we'll have a more clear cut answer by the end of the tournament. But I'm willing to say Taichi gets my pick. His matches weren't as long as Yoshihashi matches, but I feel like the quality of his wins were better.
Yeah, and that's why I think I'm going to give Taichi, the most improved, because I do like his I like the length of his matches a lot more. Like, that's the only slight that I have against Yoshihashi currently. Like, I like that they are building him up, but Taichi is in a really good space, and he's having different kinds of matches, and Yoshihashi isn't really having those.
Yeah, and Taichi picks up the win here with the Black Mephisto. Useless, turnout, but it ended up being a solid match. It ended up being a good middle match to break up the other points matches here.
It's the most like rematch of rematches where it's just like, I know all your moves, and then they just went crazy for like 18 minutes.
Yeah. Next up, we have Jay White versus Minoru Suzuki in a match that I really, really liked here. I really dug this.
Nah, this doesn't do it for me. And it's for like a very odd reason. And it's that when people like Jay White or Okada, even like Kenny Omega, when they go up against Minoru Suzuki, they can never truly be their best self because they have to sell like a dummy for Suzuki, So Jay White looks, to me at some points, he kind of just like looked ridiculous, and he never truly got into that groove because he has to be absolutely afraid of Suzuki or, sell like Shawn Michaels for him and, stuff like that. So Jay White just never got into it for me,
I thought it was cool to see him try to survive against Suzuki. I thought that was a good story here.
That's a lot of it, what it is.
Jay needed this match to stay in contention here, especially on points. A lot of cool stuff here. A lot of dragon screws in this match. A lot of heel hooks and things like that. I really liked that White, eventually did stop being afraid of him and started, he gave him the chop block. Started trying to go after his legs at one point. I did feel as though it was a little bit too interference heavy towards the end. Of course, we get the non-clean finish. I'm not sure why we had to do this. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to get a rematch down the line just because of this. Mm-hmm. But I think that, to have Suzuki, who's already eliminated, try to play spoiler here, I thought it was a really good story. And I dug it a lot. But here, Jay White stays alive and beats Suzuki, but we're still unsure as to where Gato stands as far as Jay White and Evil. So that question still lingers over the whole thing.
What was really interesting, I was waiting to see if Jay White was going to two-sweet Gato before the start of this match. I thought it would have been a really nice touch if Jay White didn't do it because he's still skeptical of Gato, but I think we might get the blow up soon, probably like for King of Pro Wrestling or something, or maybe at the finals.
Who knows? I have my own thoughts on that. Next up, we have the main event of Night 15. We have Tomohiro Ishii versus Kazuchika Okada. He's got a pretty big record against Ishii. I looked it up. They're 3-1. Ishii's only beaten him at the 2016 G1. And Okada pretty much beats him every single time out. This match was really lengthy, but I thought it banged a little bit. It's just, again, trying to get this money clip over, very tough. It's a very tough job. I think this, I went 3.5 on this one, only for the fact that like it did follow the Okada formula that over 1/4 or 1/2 of this match was so slow and plodding, and then the last half picked it up. And I thought that the money clip thing was not as strong as it was in the Shingo match. I felt like Shingo just sold that move so much better. And it was almost like a disservice to have this match after that amazing match he had with Shingo, because it just made it, it made the money clip just another finisher that he couldn't do. He couldn't finish somebody off with Ishii.
Yeah, and at this point with Okada, I'm just like, when is he just going to snap and bring back the Rainmaker? That's like what I'm really hoping for whenever I watch Okada matches. It may never come, but that's what I'm always expecting whenever I see him, do his old mannerisms, like, maintaining wrist control, the meme or whatever. But like here, Ishii is not, he's like really taking it to Okada. And like, I really thought like this was going to be like the moment, because Ishii has beaten the hell out of Okada before. Yeah, and I thought he would have to reach deep down to really get it there. But I guess he'll save that for somebody that is, a certain rivalry or something, like maybe a match against Tanahashi at some point.
Oh, please, God, no more of those. We don't need any more of those.
What are you talking about? That match is like New Japan's whatever this Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio feud is. Like, it's the go-to. Like, it's a must.
It is the John Cena Randy Orton
yes.
of New Japan. Jesus Christ. But you know, of course, Okada comes out on top here. I love that they tried to put the money clip over even more by having like the Young Lions come out and try and revive Ishii. I was like, oh God, come on.
That's where it got dramatic. I was just like, nobody else needed that. But
Shingo didn't need that. He was in the money clip for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then he walked it off mad cool. But I think the match is okay. Like it wasn't as great as the Shingo match. I just think one of the most intense parts or just like insane parts of the match is where Ishii no-sells the drop kick and then just does a flying knee on Okada. I screamed. I was just like, I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Yeah. All right. So that was night 15. That was a solid night. It wasn't my favorite block A night, but again, hard act to follow after night 13. Just a really tough act to follow there. Mm-hmm. And on to night 16. This was a match there. This was a night that pretty much just set everything up and just set the table for the rest of the finals. I couldn't really like find. It wasn't terrible, but again, like just like with anything in the G1, there isn't like an outright awful night. There's just nights where you're just like, oh, I could have really just skipped around and just watched the matches that were recommended to me.
When I was watching it, I was just like, man, should I just like ask what the highlight matches are? But I was just like, I didn't want to be that dude, so I suffered through the whole thing.
We've been so good at watching these shows front to back. So I think that like with only 2 nights left and really technically only like 2 matches in Block A that are worth watching, and literally the entirety of Block B, which is going to be worth watching on. No, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. Only really 2 matches on Block B and the entirety of Block A on Friday. It's going to be, kind of easy to watch the last 2 nights here instead of having to watch the whole thing. We start off at night 16 with Yoshihashi versus Kenta in yet another lengthy Yoshihashi match. Cyrus, did you survive this?
I survived, but I think it affected me in the next match where I literally like fell asleep and I was just like, oh damn, I have to run it back.
You need to get some rest, sir. Stop staying up so late.
I'm fresh out of work. So I had to try to get it in, but this match was very lengthy and I don't know, man. Like it really didn't need to go this long, especially for it to be on like basically the equivalent of the pre-show.
It's the opposite of the way that they've been pushing Taichi, like having Yoshihashi have these long matches to show that he can tough it out, but eventually lose. You got a lot of back and forth here. Again, like Yoshihashi is eliminated from the tournament, and he's giving his all to play spoiler to Kenta here, but he does not, once again comes up short. He falls asleep and the game over, and then he loses. Kenta, he's still in, but he's not in, like it would literally have to be like a catastrophic thing to happen for Kenta to actually like come out on top here. But he does pick up another win against Yoshihashi, which leads us to Zack Sabre Jr. versus Juice Robinson. There is a point where, Juice almost drops Zack on his head and almost breaks his damn neck. Did you peep this?
I probably fell asleep.
Oh my God. It looked real painful here. Again, it's a Zack Sabre Jr. match against Robinson. He's in pretzels for half of the match. Some really cool stuff is there's a triangle armbar that like, and I think this is actually the point where it looked really awkward when he landed, but he counters it into a power bomb, which almost like damn near kills Zack Sabre Jr.
I'm on Twitter right now trying to find a GIF of the spot.
The GIF makers aren't going to make that spot. They're not going to do that. They got to
not the one person that goes ooh,
Another cool spot here was the octopus hold that came out of the Pulp Friction counter. I thought that was a really cool counter there. There's a bunch of cool stuff there, but Zack does win with the Euro clutch, which eliminates Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson is out. I announced that to you. I didn't even care about spoiling it. I announced it to you immediately. Juice is out.
I got that text while I was at work, and I smiled. I had my AirPods in, and it was just like, Justin says, Juice Robinson is out. Dancing emoji.
So strangely enough, Zack Sabre Jr. is still in this, and there is a small chance.
I don't see it happening.
There's a small chance he can win this. Let's go straight to Toru Yano versus Tetsuya Naito. Not too long here, but Naito really does take forever to set this match up. But once it gets started, I thought Naito worked really hard here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was weird. Like this is the standard like Yano match thing where Yano's just like, oh my god, can this guy hurry up and take his clothes off? Pause. And then I really liked the spot where he tied him up to the young lion, but Naito manages to make it back, and then Yano just starts kicking the both of them.
Yeah, or like immediately after that when he tries to give the fist bump to the young lion, and it's the guy he always beats up anyway, and he ends up beating him up and tossing him out the ring. I like this a lot. Not gonna lie, like it's not like the greatest match ever, but I thought that Naito's urgency to not lose another match and it's essentially put himself out the block was really cool and admirable here. But he does pick up the win against Yano. And with Yano's loss, he eliminates himself. Kent is eliminated, and so is Hiroshi Tanahashi. So they're all gone. With one match, one fell swoop, they're all gone.
Pain.
Bloodbath. I told you this week.
Yeah.
I told all the listeners it is going to be a bloodbath this week, and there definitely was. One match eliminates 3 people. Next up, we have Evil versus Goto. A match that I cannot say that I was a fan of at all here.
Well, first things first, Goto. Is this man okay?
No, he is definitely injured. He's definitely not 100%. I think that because they are so low depth-wise on that roster, it's literally just those guys and the young lions that do the pre-show stuff. Like, That's it. So that they could not afford to have Goto, miss a match. It gives anyone a bye. Just basically, and one thing we have to remember is that they meticulously calculate the point system on this G1 tournament. Like, it is very mathematic and very precise the way that they set these up to have the winners come out. Every year I got to hand it to Gato for doing this, especially this year where there were so many ways that certain people could have won coming out of like night 10. But here with Goto, you could have gave him a night off and just gave somebody a bye. He didn't have to have the Yano match,
Yeah. And with that said, Evil is truly struggling against an injured man.
Well, here's the thing with Evil is that all of his matches for the past 4 or 5 nights have followed the same formula. And this one was like really no different, even though Goto was like working his hardest to try and get this guy over. Evil's just not doing it for me. I wasn't too big on Evil even before the heel turn. I'm still not big on him now that he cheats even more. But at the end of the day, it's looking like they're still giving him a really strong push. He beats Goto here and puts him, really, really big into the point territory. I'm very concerned, and we'll talk about this after we finish this night up, but I'm very concerned about him coming out on top here. But the main event, SANADA versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, damn near 28 minutes, damn near 30 minutes here with Tanahashi and SANADA.
Why? That shit really hurt.
Tanahashi was fully in I want to get this kid over mode, and I was like, I thought we did this 2 years ago, and a year before that, and a year before that.
If it didn't work 4 times with Okada, what the hell? How the fuck are you gonna work now?
I don't know. There was a lot here. Finishers getting kicked out of everything. People complaining about the NXT style. This was a very
New Japan is the mold.
Yeah,
what?
This is very much the style they got it from. There was one point where Tanahashi went up for the high fly flow, and SANADA gave him an RKO, and I was like, okay, that's got to be it.
The TKO isn't the finish; it's the combination of the terrible skull end submission into the moonsault, which I think is a stupid combo.
Well, it's no more dumber than Tombstone into Rainmaker, which makes no sense whatsoever. Like, okay, you landed on your head, but then I'm going to clothesline your neck. Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
This match is long. I think I gave it a high grade just because it was long and they were working hard. But again, SANADA just really doesn't do it for me, even though he's positioned very highly here. Coming out of this win against Tanahashi, he holds the tiebreaker against like two of the biggest guys on this whole tournament, and that is Naito and Tanahashi.
Hey man, are you sure there's no way Zack Sabre Jr. could come on top?
We'll talk about this right now. Coming out of these two nights, we have with Block A, Ibushi, Okada, and Jay White sitting pretty at 12 points apiece. Will Ospreay at 10 points, 5-3. Taichi, Jeff Cobb, they're gone. Ishii, Suzuki, Shingo, gone. And Yujiro, gone. He's been gone for a week. So here's the Block A tiebreakers. I wrote this out. Ibushi has beaten Ospreay and Okada. White has beaten Okada and Ibushi. Ospreay has beaten White, and he faces Okada on Friday. Okada has no wins over the other people in this group. So this means that if White wins on Friday, Jay White will win based on tiebreakers.
Let's go.
So that would mean that would push him to 14 points, and he would just win the block outright. So, but if he loses, he'll stay at 12, and that will give Okada and Ibushi a chance to win the block. Unless, I don't think. And Ospreay, he just won't have a chance to do that, just based off tiebreakers there. So yeah, that's what it's looking like for A block. Once again, it's coming down to the final night, as with most Okada-led blocks, as far as who's going to get out or not. I'm not really sure if Okada comes out of this on top. Cyrus, what do you think?
I'm really hoping that Jay White wins it for the A block, because I don't want to see him and SANADA or possibly Evil have a really long match. Okada and SANADA trading submissions.
Yeah, and then you have the possibility that, okay, on the 16th, A block, Ibushi goes against Taichi, who could play spoiler here. Okada and Ospreay, obviously, this will be for control of the block. And then you have Ishii versus Jay White. That is literally the hardest match he will probably have in this whole thing.
Do you think that's possible?
I think it is. I think that if he somehow ekes it out, that'll be one of the greatest runs of all time.
That would be a true sneaky clutch win.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a toss up, because the thing is, even trying to guess Ospreay Okada is tough because of what they've given Ospreay. Like, you would have to have Ospreay beat Okada here to completely lay him out of the block. Give Ospreay 12, but then Ibushi or Jay, they would come down to Ibushi or Jay White. So if Jay White lost and Ibushi won, then he would win. He would win the block. Well, actually, here's the thing. Well, actually, no. If Ibushi wins, he'd have 14. Jay White would only have 12 if he lost to Ishii. If Okada wins, then every match between these three is a must win on Friday, because if Okada wins and gets 14 points, he automatically wins. I don't think any of this is going to come down to tiebreakers. They almost never do that. So that's really where it stands now. It gets even trickier on Block B, Cyrus. We have Evil.
I know.
We have Evil and Naito at 6-2, 12 points. You can already eliminate Naito here. He is not going to win this. Let's just be clear. He's not going to win this. You have SANADA and Zack Sabre Jr. with 10 points. I think Zack is all but eliminated, but for the purpose of this conversation, he's still here. Goto and Kenta are gone. Juice, Tanahashi, Yano are gone. Tanahashi was 6 points. That's crazy. And Yoshihashi is gone. So the tiebreakers in Block B, Naito has beaten Zack Sabre Jr., Evil has beaten Tetsuya Naito, Zack Sabre Jr. has beaten Evil. SANADA has beaten Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito. So Saturday's night, or Saturday's final, is SANADA versus Evil, Naito versus Kenta, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tanahashi. Zack would need to win his match and hope for and Naito would have to lose, and SANADA and Evil would have to be a draw in order for Zack Sabre Jr. to win.
Yeah, let's go with that. I like that.
However, the outcome of Sanada and Evil would mean that they would win in a Naito loss would mean that either either the Evil or Sanada would win because they both beat Naito, and that's what seems to me like the most the most likely outcome here.
Damn. Yeah, that does seem to be the most likely outcome. But if there's truly a chance for Zack Sabre Jr. to truly win and spare me Sanada and Evil, no, Gato, work with me, baby.
That would never happen. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know, but
Zack faces Tanahashi on Saturday, so that's
gonna be a really good match.
Let's just clarify this right now. This is not gonna happen. Well, it's not gonna happen.
Zack Sabre Jr. has beaten Tanahashi before, so
Tanahashi being his last match in a block where it's highly contested against. You already see the three people they want to push. I'm not having this conversation with you. So,
oh my God, turn the recording off. I'm leaving.
The way that I see this breaking down is two ways. The finals being, and let me just say that I think Jay White's coming out of the A block. Let me just be clear here. I think any way, shape, or form, I think it's going to be him because I think there's a bigger story at play. So it could either be Jay White versus Evil, Bullet Club versus Bullet Club, and then that leads us to whatever happens in January and the night after, or it ends up being Jay White versus Sanada, LIJ versus BC. Yeah. And I think the strongest match to me, obviously, would not be Sanada. He would play the Goto role here in 2016. Omega. He played the Goto role here in order to get the other guy over. But it's looking to me, I'm 50-50. Jay White Naito is a strong main event. But Evil Naito seems to be what they want to do. And it seems to be the story that they want to tell between these two. For some strange reason, that's what they want to do. So what do you think, Cyrus?
I definitely think that the Bullet Club story is the bigger thing at play because it's kind of the only real story that is being developed right before our eyes. If it is something that they want to do, that's fine with me. It's just I possibly would prefer something. I'm just not a big fan of Evil, So if anything with Jay White, I believe you said it like last episode, Jay White can be an amazing baby face. And so he could possibly be an amazing tweener if need be. So put him in that role, let him shine, let him let his character grow as well. And
try to see what happens. You're not going to have a full roster for a while.
And it's also just like Evil has already beaten Naito. So is he gonna imagine if he wins the block?
That doesn't stop anything. That does
does he get 2 championship shots? Or
you're right because he already does have a win over Naito here. He has a rematch coming whether we like it or not, and that could be they're doing World Tag League and the other tournament in November, December, so it wouldn't be anytime soon, but. No, it wouldn't be 2 rematches. It would be Evil getting one over on Naito in a non-title situation that would lead to that. So yeah, you're right in a sense, but the way they're booking Evil is just it's too big not to ignore.
I'm just trying to what I've seen in the past from them, but I guess since Evil will already have a rematch, I say why not on Jay White? But we'll see what happens on Saturday, right?
Yeah, we will see what happens. I looked up Ospreay really quick, did the numbers. Ospreay would need to win against Okada, and this is in order for him to win the block. This is long shot type shit here, okay? So just hear me out. Ospreay would need to beat Okada, which tall task here. But Jay White and Ibushi. Actually, no. Look at the numbers. Yujiro would need to beat Jeff Cobb. Taichi would need to beat Ibushi. And Ishii would need to beat Jay White in order for Ospreay to win the block. Everyone would need to lose for him to get there.
Nah. that ain't gonna work for me, boss. So
usually beating Jeff Cobb means that
that means Jeff Cobb a hoe.
That would mean that nobody that has like 10 could get up there. That looks to be the thing, because that would mean that Ospreay would get 12 points. He'd have the tiebreaker over Ospreay. That would over Okada. I'm sorry. Yeah. So there we go. That is the final 2 nights, really regular nights of the G1 here. We're gonna come back to you guys on Monday with our review of the final 3 nights of the G1 Climax. Of course, you have on the 16th and the 17th, the last A and B blocks, and on the 18th, you have the A block winner versus the B block winner. I'm going to see if this all comes true. I'm going to see what happens if we're able to get what we want to hear. I'm really strongly thinking it's going to be Jay White Evil. To me, I think that's the strongest final that you could make, especially with the story that they've been telling all throughout the year.
I'm just like, SANADA or Evil winning the block, man. That ain't gonna sit right with that. That's not gonna sit right with me. Well, like winning the tournament, that's not gonna sit right with me.
Well, something that will sit right with me is if you guys follow us on Twitter at the A Show RNC. We're already active, baby. We have a bunch of followers. We're starting a conversation. And you can also find all the information on this show you're listening to right here, the A Show proper, Rewriters Room, which had an episode this week, the War Report with Cyrus is going to be working on as soon as he gets off this call with me, and more on the A Show channel. So thank you guys for following. Please subscribe to this channel as well. Please leave us a rating as well after you subscribe. And we will see you guys on Monday for the season finale of the G Show with myself and Cyrus. Cyrus, the Impact is calling, so don't think you're done with me after that.
Stop mentioning it.
I'm just saying.
I already have to watch AEW after this.
I'm just saying, you're not going to escape from me that easily. Thank you all for listening. For Cyrus, I'm Justin. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.